Hello and welcome to another episode of Squirtified Engineering. I'm Sprutis, and if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing so you can stay up to date with all my different projects. So today it's another Supra episode, and as you can see, I'm in my apartment. So we're not actually going to be doing work, but, well, it is work, but towards finishing the Supra or making upgrades, etc. But today I thought that we were going to talk about what I would like to do this off-season, and also the parts that I have saved up for my Supra. So, my back is killing me. The table is almost empty. We have some gingerbread cookies, but I will start to put out some stuff here on the table, and then we can go through them and see if they are things that I would be going to do this off-season, winter, or just save it for a rainy day or something. So let's get started. So in the words of Goon Squad, Daanngg Son. So the amount of stuff that I have is it's quite a lot. So it's a lot of parallel projects going on, some of which you've seen and some of which you haven't seen. But so I have a few boxes with stuff. So I think we start with the stuff that's been laying out the most. So we have the parts that still require some correction of the painting, wet sanding, polishing and sealing off. We have the wing, some side trim and some extra trim. So that's the black piece for the hood. And this is for the cowl, I think it's called. This one I need to remove some rust from and then paint it flat black or semi-black, semi-gloss. And the other stuff the same as this one. And then, whoops. Here we have my Evo 8 seats, so Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution 8, and this one is the driver's seat with my quick and dirty mounts. They do work. I think I'm going to remake them. These were quite cheap, but the problem was, let me see if I can find it. Oh yeah, no, well, I can't find it, but the side bolster could be, it should be this one, since it's from a right-hand drive car. The side bolster split, so I had to fix that, but it's good as new. They do require quite a bit of cleaning now, since all the sanding here in the living room. And I need to check this one to see if it's okay, but if not, then it's just cleaning and new mounts, and then I can mount it, install it in my car. And then some of the easy parts, I just took this box out, but if you want to see more about that, it's about upgrading the sensors in the CPS.
So this distributor unit is not from Supra, but if you look a few episodes back, then you can see what I did with that. And here we have all the half pieces for the brake calipers. So what you see on top is from the Evo calipers, which will be using in the rear. And then we have the one of the front grills. I have lost one of them, so the idea is to 3D print them and also make new signs for that. And then just to clear off the simple stuff, we have this Foliatech brake caliper paint. So it's in a show. Yeah, here. So it's the can I focus? Yeah, so it's the Racing Rosso. Goes well with my Ferrari Rosso paint color. And yeah, I think I'm gonna sit down for the rest of the stuff. So, and also I didn't want to overload my glass table, but what we have here is, as you saw, it's another Gates product, and it's a kit. So it's a kit for the power steering pump. Previously I thought it was leaking, but a very tiny leak, but I think it's even less than what I thought. But it's one of those parts that are still rusty in the engine bay. So if I'm anyway taking it apart to remove the rust and paint it and so on, then I will install that seal kit as well. Since I don't really have a big problem with the power steering pump, I don't think I will be prioritizing that. I think the stuff to paint are of a much higher priority. So, but that's one of the secondary things. And what you see here is maybe you can see that it has 6 smaller bundles and also one connector. So this is for the ignition coils. So a piece of my new harness, and I have enough cable here to run to the correct spot. So it's a wire braid and a shrink tube with glue in them, and perhaps you can see that I'm missing one connector. I broke it off, so I will be using my new crimper to fix that. But this is part of creating a new harness. I think I need to go put that a bit higher on the priority list because of this. So as you can see, it's quite tiny, and what this is a fuse and a relay box. So it's for, I think it's micro fuses. You have normal size fuses, you have mini fuses, and you have micro fuses. I think these are, yeah, I can't remember. It's one of them. I do have a kit of fuses to use. I also have a kit of relays, but this will make everything a lot more compact. So that will clean up the wiring in the engine bay. So let's continue with one of the things that I already have, but would be nice to exchange. So I guess if I show you this, you will be able to tell what it is. And then a few other things. So it's a brand new throttle body, which I've already taken apart. Because why not? I was only able to remove one of the screws holding the throttle blade. So I will have to try something else for that. The reason why I'm taking it apart is because I want to make a proper CAD drawing of it. And the reason why I have this, since I already have basically the same part on my Supra already, is because I wanted something nicer. The one I have is a factory Lincoln 4.6 liter V8 throttle body. So it's the same one that came on the Mustang, but at a far lower price. Since the Chinese copies sort of have caught up, I bought this one. And one of the reasons for that is, well, price, and the wire wheel is removable, which is it's not on the factory one, which means that I had to do a bit of welding in order to get. I actually bent a piece of stainless pipe, cut it open, and welded it to the factory wire wheel in order to have the correct diameter for to match my throttle pedal movement, so that when full throttle on the pedal is actually full throttle at the throttle body. But it looks a bit tacky, so what I think I will do is I will create a new wheel from a CAD drawing, which has this oval opening and also the correct stop lever and so on, but it will be I think I will make it out of aluminum, and I think it will look a lot nicer than what I have. And also this one is so much cleaner. And another thing is I think this one could be a tad bit I think the one I have on the car already is leaking a tiny bit because it got a bit overheated, maybe. I haven't double checked it. And since this is a Chinese part, I will pressure test it before I use it. But this is also then something secondary, since I already have it. Something that seems to be working on my Supra. I've had this, well, I have had most of the things for quite a long time, but yeah, it takes some time to fix everything. And another thing, which is, this will be considered an upgrade. But this is quite heavy, and a cube short shifter. I wonder if I'm in focus. So it comes with the lower seat bushing, and it's brand new, and I've had it for 3 years now. Found it on eBay at a good price, so I had to buy it. And then you might say, well, you've already installed the gearbox and the stock shifter, which already have the Marlin crawler parts. Why didn't you install this while you were at it? Well, because I want to make a CAD drawing of this. I'm making a CAD drawing out of most of my things. I even have a CAD drawing that I made. It's not completed, but I made it off the body of my Supra. So eventually, hopefully before my life is over, I will have a complete CAD drawing of my entire Supra project, and no 3D scanner, just manual measurements. But this won't take me that long to make a CAD drawing out of, so this will be on my Supra before I drive it the next time. And also, it's quite nice to know the feeling of the old parts when you go to install the new parts. So that's another reason why I haven't pushed so hard on getting this done. So since the theme now is basically things that I already have on the Supra, but I want to upgrade or, well, yeah, upgrade or replace, I took out this. This is the pulley for my ATI super damper, which I have on the car, and it's for the AC, and I've removed my AC system. So again, I'm making a CAD drawing. I haven't made a full CAD drawing of the super damper, but what I want is a CAD drawing of this, so that I can make a proper trigger wheel, which is centering correctly and not just using the screws. So that's also, especially now when I'm doing the sensor upgrade in my CPS or cam positioning sensor unit, the distributor unit. So I want to see the result I get with that before I do this, but if I have the time and so on, then I will do this in parallel. At least prepare all the parts, get the trigger wheel, get the sensors. I do like the cherry red hull effect sensor, so I think I will be going with that. and run it into my Mega Squirt, as I think I will use the VR circuit still, as that's the recommendation, and that's what I've done before, and it worked so great. But then I would use this as the crank trigger, and I would still have my CPS for the cam sync. But again, not a big priority. Then we have this. So I came across this on eBay, and if you bought 30 meters of it, you would get the cutting tool included. So I couldn't say no. And what this is nylon lines. So it's 8mm outer diameter and 6mm inner diameter. And this will replace all my sort of normal vacuum lines. And then you need the proper fittings. So I have, in plastic, I have a few Y connectors, which will be used for my boost solenoid. I have these in, I think they are brass, normal short fittings, and I have different thread sizes as well, so I can fit them in various places. I've also bought these metal ones, and the reason for that is I will be using them on my wastegate, just so that I don't risk on melting them, because here are the other 90-degree ones, plastic and brass, or well, some metal, but I want to keep the plastic away from the heat. So I will be using this, and I will be using a heat sleeve over the nylon hose, well, as long as it's routed near a heat source. So this will be a nice upgrade, and I think I will get rid of a few, well, I think I'm always suspecting leaks and that I've done things incorrectly and so on, but oops. The major thing is it will clean everything up. So instead of using regular hoses and hose clamps, and then I have different types of hoses, everything will be looking more uniform. Since I do have my own frontward facing intake manifold, and I don't have any connections on the plenum itself. Instead, I have a bigger hose running to a distribution block. So I will have these connected to that block and then go into various places. Let's see. We keep going with the same theme. Rubber mounts. These I took from the scrap pile at work. The pieces that they were attached to were garbage, and these rubber mounts were okay. So I will be using these to create my own rear silencer mount. Currently it might be made out of zip ties. And if you haven't seen how the mount looks on the Supra, it's basically two nuts in one in the sort of beam going towards holding the rear crash bar, and then there is this welded on piece of metal from the spare wheel holder and another nut, and then it was a piece of metal going across, screwed in, and some rubber mounts. That doesn't really work with my silencer, and I haven't really finished it, so I have zip ties. But with these I will make a new piece going between those two screws. I will mount these to that metal piece, and then I will have a piece of stainless steel metal going down from these two to the silencer, so it will be fixed. No more exhaust wobble. But if I'm doing that, then I think I would like to build a new exhaust. More on that soon when I go through some of the boxes. So here we have my valve covers that's going to replace the ones I have. And since I'm running sequential both ignition and fuel, I don't need the cutout for the stock coil pack. So I've welded in aluminum pieces to cover that up. I'm also going with a AN10 connector on each as a crankcase ventilation. And now it's dark, but it's still dirty inside, so I will have to remove this splash guard to clean it out fully. And as you can see, this one has still some welds to remove. It's a bit tricky to get it straight. I've actually put these in the press in order to correct them, because they are moving around when I'm welding them. Even if I hold them down, the aluminum is so soft that the heat will still, it will just make marks from the way I'm holding it down. And the other one, as you can see, this ear is not broken off as the one I have, and it's a bit more done to this one, but I still need to remove the splash guard in this one as well. And the red is actually from a pen, so I used that to indicate where I had low spots, and then I used a Panzer file, pansarfil in Swedish, to get it down. Unfortunately it broke, so that's when I sort of stopped. I need to buy a new one. And then I took out this. I guess most of you already know what this is. I don't think I need to take it out, but it's another stock intake manifold plenum, because I'm considering making another one. So if you want to buy the one I have on my Supra, then feel free to make an honest offer. So I will cut away the plenum itself, weld on a plate, create a new plenum and a new flange for a throttle body. So the next box is unloaded. A digital voice recorder, and I have two. And I have this coaxial wire that is used for my NOx sensors. So I wired them up, and the idea was to run the NOx sensor to the voice recorder, and then the output or headphone out from that to my car stereo. Unfortunately, the LED on the voice recorder is producing or introducing a noise to the recording, so it's not possible. I need to remove the LED, but then I still don't have a way of synchronizing it with the ECU log, so I just plug the sensor directly into the car stereo to listen to NOx. I mean, who doesn't like good music? But that's sort of a parallel thing. I have upgraded my Megasquirt with the NOx stuff. So the idea is to run one of the NOx sensors to my ECU, and I might go with the Bosch NOx sensor. And then the other one I will listen to. So then I have my ears and some electronics to have a look at or try to find NOx. The ears are incredible in this type of work, so you should never underestimate the power of a simple ear, and you will definitely hear when it's knocking, even if it's a low knock. But yeah, then I can correlate it and see if the frequency setup is correctly made and so on. So let's see, I already spoke a bit about exhaust. So here I have a few quite hard exhaust hanger bushings, a few different, actually only two different models, but a total of 6 rubbers, so I think that would be enough. And I think those are in polyurethane, yeah. And then I have this from Ricochet, another eBay find. So it's polyurethane mounts for the steering rack. So this is a US company, registered trademark of DuPont. Yeah, I haven't, well, you see, maybe see the American flag, but I haven't heard anything about these. So I don't actually know if they're any good. But I guess they are better than the 30-year-old original bushings that I have on now. Another electronic thing. So the steering rack bushings will be replaced if I'm working in that region. So since the Supra is on jack stand, so I think that will be something that happens during the winter. And this is like a secondary thing. This is a filter. No, it's not. It's not a filter. It's like a signal amplifier, I believe. Yeah, I think so at least. The thing is, as you might have seen, I don't have the stock antenna anymore. Instead, I have a thin strip running along the passenger or right hand side A-pillar. So that works as my antenna. I don't really listen to radio, but at least not the normal radio. But in case I do, the signal isn't very strong, so they recommend to put this amplification unit in line, so it's just one male and one female antenna connector. So I guess this, maybe it also works as a filter in case you raise the signal voltage, just like a Hall effect sensor. But I guess you can just plug this into the back of the stereo, and then you have a power cable to connect in that area. Then for some reason I have this KN filter. Oh yeah, this I got for my idle motor, I think it's called. I haven't used it because I just adjusted the butterfly and the throttle body to give me enough. But in case I want to run with the idle motor, then I need to have filtered air, and I don't want to run a big hose all over the engine bay, so instead I will have this. I think that would be easier. And then we have this. This is a drift motion steel braided hose, which connects into the the oil pressure outlet from the engine block. So it was in case you were running something, then the big body of the oil pressure sensor got in the way, so this would just remote it a bit. And since we're talking about hoses, I have this, which has been laying for, well, since my engine build in 2012, so only 8 years. This is quite expensive. It's a Locar dipstick, and you can see some black RTV or form in place gasket here. I even think it's the Toyota one. The thing was, I installed this after installing the factory dipstick tube, which means that this one gets it gets pushed out too far, so I would need to remove the dipstick tube, and then I would be able to install this. I haven't done that because I was able to rotate the stock dipstick to go up between two of the exhaust runners in the exhaust manifold, and then just make a simple bracket towards the cylinder head. But I think I will install this sometime in the future, but again, not the priority, so it will be on the back burner. So when I was upgrading the turbo from the stock CT26 turbo, I was looking at different eBay kits for feeding hoses of oil. So well, this is a kit at least. It has like a flange connector, so you go from the 2 screw to the AN female connector, and then a few screws and a few adapters to that, and then an AN hose. But yeah, I never got to use that. But I think, if you hold on, so I saw that there's a cast 90-degree elbow, and I have this. This is an inline oil filter for the turbo. So with the maybe, no, I'm a bit sure now about the sizes, but if it works, then I can use this one to connect to the turbo and just to angle it off, and then have this filter in line, so that I have extra protection for the turbo. So I might be able to use this after all. But the kits on eBay are so cheap. It's cheaper to buy a few of them than to go to the local hose store. Just because I get all the fittings and adapters needed. Some are good, so I lost you there, but even if you don't use anything of the kits, eventually you might need a specific fitting, and then you have an arsenal of them. So hoses connects to filters. So here I have a fuel lab filter, which was given to me by a friend. Thank you, Jon. So this will replace the stock fuel filter. So I will have a hardline to AN adapter, and then a Teflon AN hose, because I will have some ethanol in my tank to run to this. And this is aluminum, which is not so resistant to ethanol, but this is anodized. Anodized is required when you have aluminum in contact with ethanol. I mean, if you have ethanol and it's in contact with either rubber or aluminum, the materials will start to fall out and clog up your fuel system, and lower the performance of the fuel injectors and so on. And that's a fact. But so this one will survive the treatment, and yeah, I can open it. So that will be done this winter, because the hoses that I have running from the fuel tank to the hard lines going underneath the car, they are bad. The fuel that I've been using is not primarily ethanol fuel, but they are allowed to mix in upwards of 5% of ethanol in it, and over time it will break down the rubber hoses. So that's something that I will be doing this winter. And then we have some nice aluminum pieces. So this one it's a belt pulley, and it's for the alternator. This is bought from Drift Motion, and I think I bought it as a kit. So 3 pulleys came in that, and one is already installed on the water pump. The alternator pulley will go on when I renovate the alternator. I don't think I would do it before that. And then we have this one, also very nice. I wonder what kind of treatment they have, because in the reflection of the light in the ceiling, I do get a bit of rainbow effect, so it's splitting up the white light. So I think there is some sort of treatment. If I can anodize it, then I think I will do so. I just need to buy an anodizing kit, or if someone wants to sponsor me with it, then please do so, and I will anodize everything, even the intake manifold. That's a promise. But then if I have an anodizing kit, then I can anodize these things to color match the engine bay. I can anodize the fuel rail so that it becomes compatible with ethanol, and well, basically every aluminum piece that I make will be anodized. There is a Swedish store that are selling kits with basically everything you need to get started. It's quite nice, and I'm very tempted to press the buy button. We will see if they have any sale this Black Friday. But moving on. So I have stuff in the sofa and also on the table, but these are unopened, I think. Yeah. We have this piece. Might be hard to see, but here you get the number, hopefully. So, and this fork, I am a bit surprised that I haven't used these. So even this piece, can you see what it is? And then we have a bracket for that. And we also have a bunch of shims. So this is the shift fork, not the shift fork, it's the clutch fork. So you have the secondary solenoid pushing on this in order to disengage the clutch. So when I was having problems with the first spec pressure plate, which was incorrect or incorrectly manufactured, they haven't said anything about it yet. I just had to buy a new pressure plate and pay the custom charges for that as well. But I did get a bit of a discount, so that's good at least. But when I was troubleshooting it the first time, I ordered this kit just to be sure that everything is correct, so I don't have a bent clutch fork or a worn out clutch hub or worn shims or whatever. And perhaps when I got it working, I just skipped that idea and thought it, because I got it running with the stock pressure plate initially. Maybe I just thought that once I replace the pressure plate, I will install the new stuff. So this I could. No, I can't. Okay. Well, I can install the clutch fork and mount for that, but the hub I can't install until I remove the gearbox. So I think this will just have to wait in a box until the next time. And then we can have a look at all these pieces. Yeah, so there was a snooze in my brake piston. But here I have 3 pistons. To some brake caliper. You have seen 2 sets of, well, I have one complete stock kit on my car. I'm working on the rear Evo calipers. I'm working on the Mercedes SL500 calipers, so all the pistons are out and so on. But what you perhaps don't know is I have one full set of Volkswagen Touareg calipers, both front and rear. I wanted to use them first. I can't, because it will require like a 500mm brake disc. Yes, I'm exaggerating. And then I have the front caliper set that I want to use, which is the all aluminum LS 400 brake calipers. So I have a bunch of innovation stuff. So all the gaskets. So here are even the small O-rings that go between the caliper halves. And here I have slider pins, slider brackets. I have I'm not sure which calipers these are for, but it's Posse Quiet ceramic brake pads. And I also have a mount kit for that. You haven't seen the brake discs that I'm going to be using, but they are heavy, so I don't move them around, and I won't move them until it's time to install them. But they are already prepared. I put them up in a lathe, and so this might be the Evo stuff. I put them up in a lathe to expand the center bore. So they are, and I dialed them in the lathe in order to have them perfectly centered. So the thing about steel brake discs is that if you have heat cycled them several times, which you do when you're braking hard and so on, or even glaze them, then you will have different material properties all along the brake disc. So it's hard to put them up on a normal lathe. So at least the friction surface is hard to correct. That's why they have, you know, double cutting steel brake disc lathes. The center won't be heat cycled in the same way, but perhaps the material differences will make it hard to center. So my brake discs are brand new, so the first thing I did was to put them up on a lathe and bore out the center bore so that they fit on the Supra. So these are from a Subaru Impreza 2005 something, I think. So it works with at least the LS400 brakes. I need to verify it with the Mercedes brakes, and the rears are basically a bolt-on type of deal. But these are StopTech, and as I said, I think they are for the Evo calipers. And then I have these Beck Arnley True Friction Premium semi-metallic, made in China. I still have the OE tape on over the opening, so I don't want to remove that yet. But they are for a set of calipers that I have somewhere. So in the next box, it's more storing things that I don't need, but we have a few things. I have a bunch of different AN fittings. So this is a black Torx from UK. I have Earl fittings, blue and red, not so discreet. And I have a bunch of Summit Racing AN fittings, hose hands. Also some adapters and 180 degrees and so on. So that will be used for... I also have well, I have steel braided lines, as you saw in one of the fittings, but I also have the not the fabric, but the nylon shielded hose. I can't remember, but I have it somewhere. A service item. I have a few of these 51.5 Wicks oil filters. I get maybe 5 or 6 deciliter inside of one, so I pre-fill them before installing them, so it's good to have a bunch for every service. I have this one aluminum pipe, 2 90-degree silicone hoses, and it will be going like this. This is to replace the hose going to the lower connection of the radiator, because it's going first to the rear, passing the turbo, and then to the front. So this will go directly out and then over the power steering pump and then down. Perhaps the dimension were incorrect, and that's why I haven't mounted it. I don't know, but I think I will install it this winter, so I don't run the risk of burning the coolant hose. Then we have this, which I should have installed before I drove my Supra. So this is a polyurethane mount for the gearbox. I guess I felt that I need to repaint the gearbox mount because I need to drill it, and then I need to paint where I've drilled. So I think I'm gonna paint the entire bracket and install this. So this is the last bushing that I need to replace in the drivetrain in order to make things very stiff. All other bushings are either polyurethane or aluminum. And then just a normal catch can, nothing special. I thought that I would use it as material for creating my own baffled version, but I think I will just make it from scratch. Here's just a bunch of extra weld-in AN10 fittings, aluminum, and then we have this, which is kind of cool. So I think you saw me install the rear one, and this is it's just this foil, aluminum foil that you run on the inside of your bumper, and what you get then is parking sensors like they show here on this Audi. So you have nothing to protrude. Sure, you can't know where you're about to hit the things behind you, but or in front of you, because I have the front kit as well. But at least you would get a warning when you're getting too close to something. And I don't want to drill through the bumper covers. So I still have to wire it up, but the foil line is installed in the rear bumper, and I have drilled a hole into the body to run the cable, so it's on the inside but not connected. On to the final box. So in the last box I had the actual mirrors for the side view mirrors. I have the stock harmonic balancer, stock clutch plate and other things. But I did find a few things. So first of all, here's the idle motor. It's from a Saab that I'm considering using. We'll see. And here my Continental ethanol sensor with the Torx hose ends for Teflon hose, and also the adapters. So the pipe is 3/8 of an inch, quick connector. So I have the adapters to AN6. So this will be reading the fuel that's going back to the fuel tank. And the sensor, I think I've had it for at least 5 years. I bought it. Many of these things I managed to buy before they became popular, so I didn't pay so much for it, even though it came from China, and I got, well, maybe not China, but Asia, I think. Anyway, it was okay price. And then here I have some more brake caliper parts. It does say Brembo, so perhaps these could be the gaskets for the Evo calipers. And then I got some extra Delphi coolant sensors. So you see the tip is sealed off. I'm actually not sure why I bought these. It would make sense if I had gotten the Bosch sensor. And here I have another one. That's a bit weird. I guess I bought one sensor to be used in on my bike when I finally installed my micro squirt on it. Then I have these gaskets, which are for the valve covers. So at first it was hard to find new gaskets in Europe. In the US you can find them. I mean, you can throw a stone and hit the gasket kit, but not as easy in Europe. But then it became a bit easier, so I have this set, and I also have another set. And then we have this. So this is an electronic actuator, which I will need to use for my rear hatch, because when I install the new taillights, I won't have a bottom anymore, which I have now. And currently it's a mechanical button. So you push on the lock, and that triggers the release mechanism on the inside via a lever. So this one will replace that. So the ethanol sensor will be installed during the winter. Valve cover gaskets will be installed once I'm finished with the other valve covers, and then the brake seals when I install those. And then I also have this 3M double-sided tape, which is a bit thicker, maybe 1 millimeter thick, and the idea is to use those for the side trim. Even though you have these plastic plugs, to push them in and install them. From factory they come with this square rubber line, and I think it's some sort of double-sided tape on it, or maybe glue, but this will replace that, so I guess it won't wiggle and destroy the paint. So I guess that's it, and as you saw I have quite a lot of stuff collected to go on the Supra, but all in its own time. I need to finish a few things before I can put the next thing on and so on. Of course some of the stuff will, I mean the most important thing is to finish the paint job, mount the parts, and when mounting them I will be installing a few other things. I don't need to, but I want to finish the electrical system. So that means the new harness, the new fuse and relay box, a mount for that, removing unused wiring, replace some speaker wiring. What else? I need to prepare for more sensors and so on. But yeah, I guess the point of showing you this is to show you that I have a lot of things planned, and yeah, I'm inviting you to come along. And if you have any thoughts about this, any questions, then please feel free to write them in the comment section. And I guess this is it for now. But if you want to come along on this journey, then please consider subscribing and pressing that bell button. It also helps me if you smash that thumbs up button. But thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Stay safe, take care, and bye bye.